All right, everybody, we are back for part 2 of Theseus and the Minotaur. We are currently on paragraph 20. Okay, so keep in mind that Theseus just walked through the labyrinth and he felt what he thinks is one of the Minotaur's horns. In an instant, his world turned upside down. Quite literally. He was picked up between the Minotaur's horns and tossed high into the air. When he landed on the hard, cold stone, he felt the animal's huge hooves come down on his chest. Every last breath seemed to be knocked out of him, and he struggled to stay alive in the darkness. But Theseus was no ordinary man. He was the son of the king. He was brave and he was stubborn. Okay, brave and stubborn. Brave is definitely a positive thing. And when we say stubborn, we often think about it being a negative thing. However, in this case, it means that Theseus is stubborn enough not to give up. So I'm going to put that comment out in the side. Okay, so Theseus will not give up. As the Minotaur bellowed or shouted out in his ear and grabbed at him with his hairy arms, Theseus found a strength which he did not know he possessed. So it was kind of like something came over Theseus. He grabbed the animal's huge horns and kept on twisting the great head from side to side. As the animal grew weak, Theseus gave one almighty tug on the head, turning it almost right around. The creature's neck snapped. It gurgled its last breath and fell to the floor with an enormous thud. So we can definitely say that Theseus killed the Minotaur. Okay. It was over. He had done it. Theseus had killed the Minotaur. The Minotaur was dead. All he had to do was make his way out of, and then he realized the awful truth. In the struggle, he had let go of the string, his lifeline. So, if you guys were following along and remember Ariadne gave Theseus a ball of string so that he can leave one end of the string at the opening of the labyrinth while he was walking with the string through the labyrinth. That string was supposed to help him find his way back out. At this point, remember, Theseus thought he lost his lifeline. So the string is very symbolic to him because it was his lifeline. So in my comment over to the side, I put the string is symbolic. It is Theseus's lifeline. It will help him find his way out. Theseus felt all over the floor in the pitch darkness and kept thinking he had found it, only to realize that all he had was a long, wiry hair from the Minotaur. But remember, Theseus is very brave and he's stubborn. He is not going to give up. Despair set in, so he's feeling like he is defeated, and Theseus wondered if this was where his life would end, down in the dark, all alone, next to the stinking body of the Minotaur. Then his hand brushed a piece of string, and with a whoop of delight, he knew he had found the thread which would lead him back out. As he neared the entrance of the labyrinth, the darkness began to fade, and he made out the figure of Ariadne waiting for his return. Remember, dark and light, that comes to be a symbol as well. Dark is usually the symbol of evil. Light is usually a symbol of goodness. So he's getting out of the darkness. He's coming back into the light, which is the good. "You must take me back to Athens with you," she cried. "My father would kill me when he finds out that I have helped you." So it sounds like Ariadne is scared of her own father, especially since she helped Theseus return out of the labyrinth. "But of course you must come with us," said Theseus. "It would be cruel to leave you here." Quickly and quietly they unfurled the great black sails of their ship and headed for home. Okay, unfurled, it just means they let their sails out so they can start sailing home. But remember, the black sails, what do they symbolize? They actually symbolize death. Remember, King Aegeus, Theseus's father, said, "If you win, if you succeed, be sure to have your white sails up upon your return so I know that you're safe." "I cannot believe how my life has changed," said Ariadne as they sailed across the calm seas towards Athens. "To think that I am free of my cruel father and that I will soon be married to a great prince." So even Ariadne knew that her father was cruel. So again, we have King Minos, who is cruel and villainous. He's mean. And then we have Theseus, who is brave and courageous and sacrificed himself. So again, we have this symbol of good in Theseus and evil in King Minos. Ariadne also said, "I will soon be married to a great prince." "Married?" said Theseus. "Oh, yes, that will be wonderful." But in truth, Theseus did not really find her attractive. So it sounds like Ariadne wanted to get married because she helped save Theseus, and it only seemed the right thing to do. Theseus didn't find the idea quite as thrilling as Ariadne did, but he is a true prince. So when their ship docked at an island on their way home to collect fresh water, Theseus sent Ariadne off to find bread and fruit. The moment she was gone, he set sail and left her on the island. Now, you might think that this was a bad way to reward someone who had helped him and had saved him from a certain death. The gods clearly thought the same thing, for they had a further horror in store for him as a punishment for his ungrateful treatment of the young girl. So even though Theseus did sacrifice himself for the greater good of everyone, he still did not treat Ariadne the correct way. And he left her on an island. But there was still a punishment for him. So even though he did something good and sacrificed, he then turned around and did do something that wasn't as good. And he left Ariadne on an island by herself and quickly left her there. So in his haste to get away, so haste just means you're doing something too quickly and you're not thinking. So in his haste to get away, Theseus forgot to change his sails to white. So now Theseus is going to be punished. He quickly left the island where he left Ariadne. He forgot to change the sails to white. So he's sailing back to his father, King Aegeus, with black sails. Therefore, King Aegeus is going to think the worst. So Theseus forgot to change his sails to white. King Aegeus, waiting on the headland, saw the ship approaching with its black sails flying in the wind. So if King Aegeus sees the black sails, we know that black sails equal death. So King Aegeus is going to think that his son was killed by the Minotaur. Okay? "My son has failed, and he is dead," he cried, and in despair he flung himself from the cliff into the raging waters below. From that day on, the sea was named in memory of Theseus's father, and to this day it is known as the Aegean Sea. So we know that Theseus sacrificed himself to fight the Minotaur, and that was his good deed. However, he then left Ariadne on an island by herself, and he was punished because of that. Therefore, he went home with black sails, King Aegeus saw that, and he thought that his son failed, so he threw himself off a cliff in despair. He was so saddened, he thought his son was dead, and therefore he sacrificed himself. Okay, and just down here I have some definitions and some footnotes for you that we read. But quickly, let's go ahead and write down some notes. Okay, so King Minos, we know that he is mean, not liked. He is feared by others. We know that he humiliates others, he taunts others, and he likes prisoners to go against the Minotaur. Then we have Theseus. He is brave and courageous. We know that let me fix that for you. We know that he sacrifices himself for the good of others. Now, think to yourself, why did he sacrifice? Why did Theseus sacrifice himself? Okay, think to yourself, why did he sacrifice himself? Theseus himself because he didn't think it was right that King Minos used prisoners to feed the Minotaur, right? So Theseus stepped up to protect the people of his father's land. Okay, so really that is the entire passage. That is the theme. We know that Theseus did not really, he didn't treat Ariadne well, and he was punished for that. So he's not invincible, even though he is the prince of Athens. He is not invincible, so he gets punished as well. But the big picture is that King Minos and Theseus are opposites. Theseus is brave, he's courageous, he sacrifices himself for the good of others, so he volunteered to go against the Minotaur. Theseus knows that King Minos is a villain, and the more villainous King Minos is, the better Theseus looks. So Theseus looks braver and braver when King Minos acts meaner and more villainous. Okay, Theseus, remember, found the strength just when he thought he was done and giving up. He didn't think that he can go on anymore, but he was able to find the strength in order to kill the Minotaur and find his way out of the labyrinth. Okay, and the fact that Theseus is very brave makes Ariadne fall in love with him. And that is it. If you have any questions about this reading or the comments, please let me know, but definitely use these comments to help you answer the questions for today.